So if you want to increase conversions on your ads, the most important thing to focus on is what you say inside the ad itself, because the words you put in front of people are what actually decide whether they buy from you or scroll right past you. Now, the thing that should put a smile on your face is that to fix this, you don't need 10 years of experience and a massive brand or even a huge creative team. In fact, all you need is a simple 4-part structure I call PPPC. And this is the same structure I've personally used to generate over $115 million with Meta Ads for my own business and for my clients across more than 20 different industries. And once you understand each piece and how it works and how each one compounds into the next, you'll be able to take any one of your ads, swap a few words around, and watch your conversions climb almost overnight. Now, before we get into the structure itself, you need to understand how people actually make the decision to click on your ad in the first place. Because if you don't get this part right, none of the 4 pieces are going to do their job. See, when someone clicks on your ad, they're not making a logical decision. They're actually taking action because of an emotion that they felt in the half second your ad showed up on their feed, and their brain comes up with logical reasons afterwards to justify the click that they already made. And if you think about the last time that you stopped scrolling on something, you did the exact same thing. You didn't sit there reading the headline for 3 times and weighing the pros and cons of whether clicking on it is a good or bad idea. You just felt something and then you clicked, and then your brain filled it with reasons after the fact to make you feel like the decision was rational. That's how every click on every single ad actually happens, whether the person is clicking on a $5 t-shirt or a $50,000 coaching program. So every word you put inside your ad has one job: to make the viewer feel something specific before logic ever has a chance to get involved. And the 4 pieces of PPPC are how you do that, and in the right order, with the right intensity and the right places. So with that in mind, let's get into it. So the first piece of PPPC is pain, and this is where almost every business owner messes up before the ad even has a chance to convert, because most of them start their ads by calling out their audience, like, for example, if you're a business owner making more than $50K a month, blah blah blah. And the reason that doesn't work is because nobody freezes their thumb in the air to be told what industry they're in or how much they're making. That used to work back in 2017 when Alex Hormozi started doing it. That's almost 10 years ago. But a business coach already knows what they do, and reminding them doesn't do anything exceptional but waste their time, which is valuable every second and half of the entire ad. What actually works is something completely different. And once you actually start writing your ads around it, your cost per lead is gonna drop overnight, because the entire game comes down to one question: what is my audience losing right now that they didn't actually know about? That single question is what separates ads that print from ads that get ignored. Because the moment that your viewer feels FOMO, their brain has nowhere else to go but into your ad, into your landing page. Take the next step. Let me show you exactly what I mean. We had a life insurance client where every single ad in the space was talking about coverage when you die. So what we did was we threw that angle completely out. We were not going to use it. And we showed people that their 401k was quietly costing them thousands of dollars that they had no idea that they were actually losing. Now, 5 seconds before the ad hit their feed, those people weren't stressed about their 401k at all. They weren't even thinking about it because they thought they were making a smart move that everybody else was also making, which is the entire reason that it worked, by the way. The ad created a pain that didn't exist a moment ago. And the second that pain landed, they leaned in and watched for the rest of the video. And this is exactly why that question works so well in any industry, no matter what you sell or who you sell it to. Because the moment the viewer feels a pain that they didn't know that they had, their brain shifts from confident to curious in about half a second. Once you have it, you've earned the next 30 seconds to walk them through the rest of your ad. Without that shift, nothing else in the ad actually matters because, well, they're already gone. They scrolled past you to whatever the algorithm wants to serve them next. So before you write a single word on your next ad, go to Facebook and look at what every advertiser in your space is already saying and whatever assumptions they're all reinforcing. That's the one thing you want to avoid. Then sit with that question for 10 or 15 minutes and don't move on until you have a very real answer. What is my audience losing right now that they didn't even know about? Whatever you come up with, that's your pain, and that's the foundation you build build everything on. And by the way, if you want more of these frameworks broken down even deeper with full breakdowns of every meta ad I've used to print results across over 20 industries, you can get access to all of it completely for free in my Click to Client course. The link is down below in the description. It's completely free if you want to get access to it. Now, once you have that pain locked in, the second piece of PPPC is the promise. And this is the part where they all want to scream the promise from the rooftop and tell the viewer everything their service is going to do for them. But the problem is the viewer doesn't believe a word of it because they've heard the exact same promises 1,000 times from other businesses in your space. I mean, we've all heard the crazy guarantees. So what actually works is letting the viewer make the promise themselves in their own head on their own time. Now, what I mean by that is when you state a promise out loud, the viewer's brain treats it like a sales pitch and immediately starts looking for reasons not to believe it. But when the viewer arrives at the promise on their own by watching what happens inside the ad and drawing up the conclusion themselves, the brain treats that conclusion as simply a personal discovery. And personal discoveries, well, they don't get questioned because they own it. That's what they decided the ad is about. And the best example I can give you here is a restaurant recommendation. When someone you've never met tells you a place is amazing, you'd probably nod and forget about it within the next 10 minutes. But when you walk in yourself and taste the food, that's the version that sticks with you for years afterwards. Because the brain trusts what it already experienced 1,000 times more than what it gets told. And that's exactly what's happening inside your ad every time the viewer makes the conclusions completely on their own. So instead of telling people what your service does for them, show them the results and let the gap between where they are now and where the results are do the selling for you. And if you can't show the results visually, get specific about it instead by describing one outcome that one specific client got in concrete terms the viewer can actually picture in their own head, because specificity does the same exact job as a visual representation. It gives the viewer something tangible enough to play out as a movie inside their mind, which is the entire point of this entire framework piece. Now, once you have that pain and the promise working together, the third piece is proof. And this is where most ads fall apart. Because what most people call as proof, like I've helped thousands of clients or trusted by 500 customers, have 5-star reviews, it feels like proof on paper, but it's so vague that the customer literally glosses over it without registering anything at all. So what counts as real proof? Well, it comes down to two paths. The first path is the viewer verifying it with their own eyes inside the ad itself, which means the result is happening on the screen in real time in front of them with no testimonial, without a headshot quote review screenshot needed, because the transformation itself is the proof. And the second path is being so specific that the claim couldn't possibly be made up. Now, the rule for this path is very simple. When you use numbers as proof, the format is simple: name plus number plus time frame. So instead of saying we've helped thousands of clients, say we've helped Total Dog spend $100,000 in ad spend and generate 1.8 million in 3 years. And now the viewer's brain has nowhere to push back on that sentence because every piece of this is verifiable, and that specificity is what becomes credibility. Now, most ads fail this part because the business owner is afraid of getting too specific, so they water it down to avoid sounding like they're bragging, and they end up with proof that could apply to any business in any industry. But there is always a way to be specific. If you can't say a specific name, use a specific industry. Or if you can't say a specific number, use a specific time frame. But never make your proof vague, because that's how you decrease your value in your ICP's eyes. Now, once the pain, promise, and proof are all doing their job inside the ad, the last piece of PPPC is call to action. And honestly, this is the easiest part of the entire framework because it's also where most people overcomplicate themselves. And they also treat this like the most important part of the ad, so they load it up with urgency and scarcity and push viewers over the edge. But the CTA isn't when the selling is happening. All the selling was already done in the pain, promise, and proof, which means by the time the viewer reaches the end of your ad, they've already made a decision in their head. And the CTA's only job is to open the door for them to actually act on it. So when you stack urgency on top of an ad that's already converted them, all you do is remind them that they're being sold to, which is exactly what you don't want. And that reminder is killing the click. This is exactly why one of the best performing ads we've ever run had a call to action that was only 7 words long. It was for a dog trainer, and that ad generated over $1.8 million that I was just mentioning in about a 3-year time period. And all we said is, if you want that for your dog, click the link below. I know it sounds stupid and super simple, but that worked extremely well because the CTA didn't try to do the selling, because the pain, promise, and proof already did that. It just directed the target avatar to what they needed to do in the most frictionless way possible. And that's the bar that you're aiming for at the end of every ad that you write. So whenever you're saying something at the end of your ad right now, ask yourself one question. Would a friend talk to me like this? If the answer is no, keep simplifying it until it does. And once your CTA passes that test, you have all 4 pieces of PPPC working together inside the same ad, which means the word inside your ad are finally doing what they're supposed to do, which is increase your conversions without you needing to touch your targeting or your budget. But the words only work if you know how to scale your ads when they start converting, because the way that most people scale is exactly what kills the campaign that they started to gain momentum on. So if you want to see exactly how to scale your ads without breaking what's working, I've made a video breaking down exactly that, which I'll leave on the screen right now for you to watch it. And that's pretty much it from me. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.